Hello and welcome. The goal of this podcast is to get listeners connected with others in the sports industry because they say it's all about who you know, and now you know us. All right, hello and welcome, Constant Sports Podcast listeners and viewers. We're excited for another episode here. Today, obviously, I'm your host, Connor Shank, and we have exceptional guest, well-renowned sports industry professional, Mr. Salvatore Capri, joining us today. What's going on, Sal?
Not too much. Good to be here, Connor. Thanks for having me, as always.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I mean, you're basically a mainstay at this point. Coming from a little bit of a different venue now, a little life update as we posted on LinkedIn and yourself posted, but maybe give the listener viewers, you did a little move within the sports industry, rather more of a sales position, it looks like. So what's your day been like, now in a different spot with some movers and shakers out there?
Yeah, thanks for the segue there, Connor. Excited to announce that I have accepted a account manager position within Teal Properties Group. So working within the same company, just for our new audience who are listening to this episode. Teal Properties Group is a high school sports marketing company focused around the high school sport championship events. Basically, we're able to create strategic partnerships with the state associations and help kind of manage the sponsorships within those championship events. So specifically in this role as an account manager within our Kentucky property, I will be on the selling side of those sponsorships for the property, as well as kind of being hands-on with each of those accounts and helping kind of provide best in class customer service regarding the fulfillment and activation of those sponsorships.
And that's kind of I guess a newer role, as you mentioned, transitioning. And I think that's something to note on kind of in the sports industry in general. There's some of these roles, especially like with high school sports, right? I feel like not many people think, high school sports is big business. Rather, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to work for the Jets or an NBA team. But I mean, sports is sports, right? High school sponsorships, as we've seen, is kind of a big player nowadays, especially. I feel like more and more companies get into it now that you're kind of on the sales side. So is there much, I guess, are you diving into sales books? I'm always curious when people kind of get into sales roles, or they just, what's kind of are you fully immersed in, sales tips 101? Are you kind of easing into it? What's that looking like?
No, great question, Connor. I think for me personally, like I've been telling kind of my coworkers and supervisors and making this transition, I grew up a shyer kid. So early in my career, I didn't necessarily anticipate going into a sales role, but as just through education, my work experience at TPG as well as elsewhere, I've been able to really develop communication skills. And I definitely recommend that to everybody. It really doesn't matter what role you're in. You got to have high level communication. Your ability to communicate with people is going to be paramount.
Yep.
With that being said, I've gotten to a point where I feel confident in my communication skills and the ability to sell, because at the end of the day, sales is finding a solution for a client, but within all that, relationships and being able to build relationships. And the best way to do that is through communications. So with that all being said, getting to this point, I feel like that my communication skills are enough to be able to do that, as well as then kind of like you're saying, diving into the sales 101, understanding that process and kind of, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, wonderfully put. And I think, we've touched on before, this is like our 45th or 6th episode, but a lot of the guests that have, past guests that have come on have said kind of something similar. It's communication skills, kind of the networking, relationship building. These are all paramount as building in one's career. So I think that's, just goes to kind of hit on that point, as we continue out in our careers. But now let's touch base a little bit on kind of the sports world and with NFL schedule release. I feel like that's kind of the top of mind. So we'll touch on that a little bit. And I wanted to get your thoughts on, I believe it is the Jets that landed a record number of primetime games over the first 3 months of the 2024 season. What's your thoughts on that? Maybe some of the schedule releases, kind of let you take the ball there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll dive into the NFL schedule release. Answering your first question, I always giggle when they release them, and then they release the number of primetime games, because it's always a shot in the dark. It's like,
Yep.
oh, we're expecting this team. So a Jets team that I don't even know if they've had a winning record within the past 5+ years, but the glory, the glamour of having Aaron Rodgers back has got them shot up to the top, or shot up to the top. So
Yep.
if he stays healthy and they develop the way everyone expects them to, the potential they have, I mean, there's no doubt you want them on primetime games, but the fact is they haven't shown anything. So potential gets a lot of people fired
It
in
does.
that league. So I do giggle when I see that kind of stuff, and specifically with the Jets, and putting them back on Monday night against a top NFC opponent was just a nice little touch by Roger Goodell.
Yeah, it's I feel like he's got a sense of humor because I feel like enough people, I mean, they boo the man when it comes on stage. And
Correct.
I feel like he's got a little sense of humor. He pulls strings like that every once in a while that says, hey, I'm in charge, so watch yourself. And
Right.
I think it's I've seen a lot of Ravens players actually, they're playing 10 games, or no, they're playing, what is it, 3 games in 10 days or something like that,
Oof.
with a few back-to-backs, Monday, Thursday, and then an international
Hmm.
game. And I've seen some outrage there. And I
Yep.
do feel like that is an unnecessary amount of games. I mean, 3 games in 10 days at the NFL level is a bit absurd. I mean,
I
obviously
think,
they can't change it now. I mean, unless one of them gets flexed, I guess.
oh yeah, that's a good point. Flex will affect that, but yeah, no. Along those lines, as a Denver Broncos fan, we got a little uh murmur about
Mm.
our schedule, and specifically first 7 of our first 12 games are away. So
Wow.
basically, the first half of our schedule, we get away with all of our away games, and then we're going to be at home the back half. So it's interesting how it works. I always envision that it's kind of an automation system they've got, just because when you're talking about
So many
32
teams. Yeah.
plus teams, so many different factors going in. Like obviously they probably manually code some of those games that they specifically want, but then outside of that, it's got to be just a system just randomizing it. So
Mhm.
it's funny when you see stuff like that, because it's like, oh, looks like the robots didn't double check that.
Yeah. Then there's that one. That's I mean, I guess on the bright side, I'd rather have the home games the later in the year, especially with your home field advantage up there, Mile High, the
Totally
colder
agree.
months,
Hmm.
snow, weather, plus obviously the elevation plays a role. So that's right, with where the fellas like them. So I mean, have you had a chance to really dive into the schedule? I know you mentioned the home and away there, but do we have a 2024 prediction, win-loss record? What are we thinking there?
I'm not going to go there. Specifically with the Broncos, there's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, with what the quarterback position is going to look like, what the team's going to develop into. So I'm going to hold my reservations on them. I do anticipate, just talking about that division, the Chiefs to be back. I do anticipate the Chargers to be well improved under
Okay.
the leadership and direction of Mr. Harbaugh, and the Raiders. I just don't know how the Raiders can be good.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
especially I mean
they
they
don't have
have
a
Gardner
quarterback.
Minshew, I guess, as a
Oh my.
QB, but I feel like that's like they didn't really upgrade. I mean, especially in that division to keep that. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know how you're going to keep up with those other 3 quarterbacks.
No, exactly. Just a couple of notes to keep an eye on. AFC North, best division in football. There's
Yep.
no doubt about it. It'll be interesting to see that. Everybody's writing off Joe Burrow again. I think that's a poor mistake. Um, NFC North is another good division. Everyone's expecting the Lions to come back and take that, but our fellow Packers owner would disagree with that
Yep.
wholeheartedly, and I tend to lean towards that as well. I do see the Packers being able to rally the troops so
Okay.
young and continue to develop, and they're going to be a formidable opponent, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I do think it's harder for so the Lions have a magical run last season, and I feel like, when like they had the Niners on the ropes. I mean, they were up 3 scores, maybe
Correct. Oh
24,
yeah.
20
Hmm.
points, something like that. You let that one slip. Sometimes that's kind of your window right there. Like you get pushed into that category, then let's get it going. Kind of like the Bengals 2 years ago, make the Super Bowl, and then
The
obviously the
wheels fall
quarterback
off.
gets hurt. But yeah, I mean, you need a
Yes.
lot of things to go right, and do that again. I feel like give the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, NFL is just flip unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs, where that doesn't happen. Patriots all the past 20 years minus the most recent 3, but feel like it's
Correct.
kind of hard to repeat in the NFL. So that the
Hmm.
Lions, I think, will especially be a team to watch out for, see if they can repeat. I know they just signed Jared Goff to a pretty sizable check
Hmm.
here in the, I guess, number of years. So that'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see kind of what they do. And kind of sticking in the football world, the NCAA football, it's the video game is back. I feel like that's the latest buzz. It went from 1993, um, basically 2013 until now, obviously. So it's coming out. It's a few packages coming out, but
Hmm.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, that was a fun game kind of growing up to play, and I think it's good for the college space to get back in, especially with NIL and that whole thing. And a lot of them had to sign, an agreement to get paid X amount to be in the game. Some players have sat out, so I don't know what you
Are
think about
you
the
are,
game.
are you referencing the $600 in the free copy of the game?
That's correct.
Yep, yep, no doubt about it. No, it's interesting. I would love to know the figures on what some of these other athletes made, and specifically, obviously, we know the standard package that most athletes got, but some of the cover athletes, the Quinn Ewers, the Travis Hunters, they
Yep.
signed separate deals. They're going to do more of the promotions. However, they're going to be getting a bigger check. So I wonder what that check looks like. With that being said, yeah, I mean, it was good for the game. It's obviously a play from NIL, but you're talking one of the most popular games out there.
Yep.
I I would consider it more popular than Madden.
Hmm.
Everybody loves college football. Everybody loves the way that that game was compared to Madden. Madden's a little different, and feel like some of the graphics and kind of feel of it is a little different, and kind of I think the college aspect of it fits better in a video game versus professional. Both are fun, but I lean towards college football, specifically when you talk about video games.
Yeah, agreed. And I think they had a good run there where they had the college basketball game, college baseball,
Hmm.
college football. It's good to I think I don't know, pros might like it more, but I think especially in the college, you're playing a video game as yourself. It's probably pretty cool for a lot of them. And so I'm happy it's back. Good for them. And
Hmm.
I'm always yeah, like I said, I think it's good for the sport and for the sports ecosystem to kind of have that back and going through. And speaking of the sports ecosystem, I know this one actually is near and dear to my heart. He was a fellow Padre, then he joined the dark side, came over to the New York Yankees, but there has been some rumors circulating that Mr. Soto, he's open, as he says, to in-season contract talks with the Yankees. I'm sure he's going to start asking for, I don't know, 100, 300 million dollars. As a Yankees diehard over here, are we giving it to Juan Soto? What do we think?
I anticipate Juan Soto going for about 8 to 10 years, over $400 million.
All right,
8 to 10 years, 400 mil.
you're and
Yeah,
you're and you're ready to rock and roll with that deal. It sounds like.
absolutely.
All
There's no
right.
doubt about it. This currently the favorite to win the AL MVP. Fully anticipate that to continue and that to transpire. This team is looking good. He's been a great bat in addition to the team. That next juice, because the Yankees in past years, we've been lacking the left-handed bat. We've
Yep.
got Judge, we got Stanton, we've got some of these other right-handed hitters. We need a left bat. Now Rizzo's been solid, but this guy takes it to the next level.
Well, I mean, he
And
does
obviously,
beg for the walk, so you got to keep that in mind. He
well,
can't help himself for seeing a walk.
from a
Big
Padres fan,
situation, he's looking for the walk.
from a Padres fan, I'm not surprised hearing that. But you see the difference when you get him out of a culture like that. You get him to a winning culture, boom, levels up. Padres doing their same thing. Take two or three from the Dodgers, then lose a series to the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, no, I actually had a tweet about that for all those who
Yeah.
follow me on Twitter. I did tweet
Let's
that.
get that. Let's read it out to the audience.
It's
Hmm.
typical Padres behavior. We go in 3 game set for the Dodgers, 2-1, win 2 games, lose one, and then follow that performance up. We're feeling ready to go. We just walked off the Dodgers, arguably the best team in baseball. They're
Hmm.
the self-proclaimed world champions already.
Correct.
So we beat them in a series that always feel good, and then we walk straight into. I mean, let's say we sleptwalked into a series versus Colorado Rockies, who have at the time, I guess, 13 wins on the season. And they come in to Petco Park, America's #1 ballpark, mind you.
Correct.
Great
Correct.
place to play. Haven't had a rain out since, I don't know, 01, 02. They come in there and absolutely just act like we've never played baseball before. I mean, the games were never even close, except maybe
No,
one. And it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Now we're walking in. We're going down to Atlanta, playing the Braves for a 3-game set.
it's not easy.
On a 3-game losing stand, that doesn't feel good. So hopefully we can rattle the troops with our new additions there and Mr. Araz. And we're sitting on the barrel of a 22-24 record. Obviously, no one wins the World Series in May, but
No, they don't. No, they
I
don't.
don't want to be dramatic, but these are must-win games.
Oh, of course. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, like your tweet says, it just summarizes being a Padres fan the last couple of years. Your ability to beat the self-proclaimed top team, one of the most elite teams, and then to just absolutely fold versus the worst team in baseball. They may not have the worst record. I feel like they do. They are the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, no,
There's
it
no
hurts.
doubt about it.
It hurts. And for
Yeah.
some reason, for all the Padres fans listening, I don't know if it's a lot, but we for some reason or another, when we play the Colorado Rockies, we
Can't beat
act
them.
like they're the 1915 New York Yankees. We act
Oh,
like
I
Mickey
know it.
Mantle's out there and we can't touch them. I mean, I would love to get an overall win-loss record against them when they have a losing record, but it's not good. Like if
It's
if
tough.
they're a bad team, we will lose to them. And
Yeah.
that's just how it goes. And I'm okay with that. So,
Yep. Got to
you
move
know,
on.
yeah, we will. We will indeed. I don't know. I don't know about the rest of the league. I'm just looking at some of the standings here. It does look like the Yankees have the second best record in baseball at a 30 and
Hmm.
15 rate.
Beautiful.
So that's looking good. They're looking good there. The rest of the division, I guess they got the Orioles, but that's nothing.
Well, I was gonna say the Orioles, Blue Jays are always tough. Rays are. I don't really worry too much about the Rays. They're a solid ball club. They usually make the playoffs, but when the postseason comes around, they're very similar to the Dodgers, and they fold like a Bills Mafia folding table.
Well, that actually, full circle here. I wanted to kind of let's touch base. I guess we started with
Here we go.
NFL. Now we're going
Hmm.
to MLB, but speaking
Circle
of,
back.
well, no, you gave me a folding table, and then that just instantly reminded me of
Uh-huh.
WWE and fighting, and then went straight
Oh,
into Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I don't know your
oh,
thoughts. We haven't really talked about it on air, but um, I tweeted this a while ago. I'm not sure the draw. I know it's going to be on Netflix, so everyone can watch it. So I feel like those numbers are going to be a little inflamed. It's my personal opinion. I feel like those are going to be a little bit inflamed because it's going to be an easier access opposed to a pay-per-view um, type of deal where it's, you got to pay, the pass cards, you got to pay 60, 70, $80, whatever it is to, even get in the fight. So I think with that being Netflix, a lot more people are going to watch it. So like I said, numbers are going to be inflamed higher. I'm not sure the draw to a 60-year-old, I don't even know how old Mike Tyson is, versus Jake Paul. For you, the counts I've been following say Mr. Paul looks to be on some the juice. He looks big. He's got
very
some
big.
body shape that looks a little bit not normal. You could say from Mr. Plates First Dates, who is in the nutrition kind of fitness industry.
Mhm.
Shout out. But I don't know what you think. I'm not super interested into it. I'm not. I mean, I probably watch it because I like MMA, boxing, fighting, and stuff. But I don't know. I just don't see the draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised this was the route you wanted to go with the fighting wise. I won't turn it on. I usually have not even discussed Jake Paul fights, to be honest with you, in the past. Um, yeah, it's all entertainment,
Yep, I
not worth
agree.
it. When you're talking about real fighting,
Walk us
my eyes
into
are
it.
sent.
Walk us into it because I wanted to start out with the
Yeah,
WWE. That's why I preface it with WWE, fake
mhm,
wrestling, kind of fake
yep,
fighting. No disrespect to the WWE guys. I wouldn't
yep.
want to fight you in real life. I'm just saying. But now coming to the real fighting, we got some big fights coming up in the
We got some big
UFC.
fights,
We got Dustin
big fights.
Poirier versus
Hmm.
Islam Makhachev for the belt
Correct.
for the first time using gold gloves, which I think is a
Hmm.
nice little spinoff. Gives
I
a
do too.
new. I mean,
Hmm.
anytime you can kind of freshen things up, give a new perspective, try something new, I'm for it. So I like the aspect of the gold gloves. Now, do both fighters get the gold gloves or just champion?
I believe both fighters.
Both fighters are getting gold.
Yep,
So that's cool. And for the listeners, we're talking UFC gloves with
yep.
being gold. Usually they're
I
black for
believe three
UFC.
ounce. 3 ounces.
Are they something like that? 3 to 5,
I believe it's
somewhere in that range.
three, 4 or 5. It ain't 16-ounce pillows. This
No,
is barely cover the hands.
that's correct. You're filling the
More for
knuckles,
protecting the hand versus protecting
the
the
face
foe,
of the
the
fight.
opponent.
Correct.
Yes.
So we got that fight coming up. I'll lay out the fight card and then we'll get your picks. But so we got that fight coming up, and then on the heels of that, we have the return of arguably the greatest combat fighter of all time, the
That's correct.
notorious Mr. Conor McGregor.
June
Uh,
29th.
June 29th, Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
fighting Mr. Michael Iron. What is it? Michael Iron Chandler, whatever this guy's name is. Big
Yep.
wannabe.
Yep.
Mr. American Hero gets knocked out every time he gets in the ring. It will be a formidable foe, I will say.
Yes, formidable. Don't knock him down now. I mean, the guy's knocking out Dan Hooker, doing backflips. The guy's kicking Tony Ferguson into retirement.
That's correct.
But then as you pointed out, will be knocked out by 𝐁𝐞 𝐲𝐧, Charles Oliveira. So I mean, this guy is a boomer bust type of guy.
He really
And I
is.
fully anticipate this to be a bust for him. Maybe last into round 2. It'll be early round 2 though.
Wow.
And he's going down.
Okay, so
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got that. So listen, check out the numbers this will do. So McGregor and the UFC are already saying this is going to break a $20 million gate, which means
Already has well over.
participants coming into said arena for those
Correct.
out there.
Correct.
And Mr. McGregor already has 3, maybe even 4 of the top 5 gates in UFC history all time. Then when you go into just gates alone, Mr. McGregor is still in the top of that with the Floyd Mayweather
That's correct.
McGregor boxing bout, you will. So imagine this: McGregor beats Chandler, Jim. We have Poirier beating Islam Makhachev for the belt. We do I don't count the third fight versus Poirier.
Quad trilogy. Oh, I agree too. I don't count the third fight either. So it'd be the trilogy.
Right, you can't have an injury.
If people want to call it the quad trilogy, whatever.
Right. So for the belt, you go McGregor and Poirier for the belt, probably December or maybe January the next year. I guarantee you that fight would probably break every record known to man.
Agreed. See, here's how I envision it. I love that breakdown. I see Chandler. I see the man that resides in Dagestan.
Yeah.
Popping out of nowhere, asking for it, receiving it.
Are you talking about the Eagle?
That's correct.
You're saying Khabib Nurmagomedov, for all those listeners and viewers out there,
yes,
has retired many, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, so he's never fighting again.
correct.
You think he's coming out of the shadows? Well, we'll say there was reports he does owe a lot of people some money. I think it's the Russian government $3 to $5 million he owes. So allegedly, he is strapped for cash at the moment. Correct. So keep that in mind.
Correct. I anticipate his head to pop up out of his hole. Attempt a return versus McGregor. McGregor finishes him in dramatic fashion, and then we go for the belt to round out the career.
Wow. I did not see that one coming. That would be something. I'm not gonna lie.
And the belt, I do. You know, I'd like to see Dustin win, even though I'm not the biggest Dustin Poirier fan.
I do too.
I respect him.
I did too.
I respect him.
Yeah.
But I actually anticipate Islam to continue his reign. And after McGregor beats Khabib, he finishes off the trifecta against Islam and retains the title for the people of Ireland.
All right, you heard it here first. Like I said, I think I mean the next few months are going to be some bangers of fights.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun to watch, and you know the UFC is just an absolute rocket ship. I guess really since COVID is kind of, I don't want to say when they took off, but I feel like they've been doing year over year increase in viewership, pay-per-view, the whole deal.
I mean, yeah, you've nailed it on the head. This is one of the top sports in the nation. There's no doubt about it. Revert back, because I just laid out McGregor's potential path. I've got one more alternative that I'd like to discuss, but I first like to recap one of the past UFC events that we saw in, I'd say, the best fight I've ever witnessed.
What win that would be?
Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje.
This is true. Yeah,
I think I'm going there. I mean, when you've got a back and forth like that, and then 20 seconds left, guy points to the middle, they know what's going on, and then knocks him out in a walk-off fashion with the buzzer beaming. Yeah, you've got my attention.
Yeah, and for those of you who maybe aren't into UFC or into
Give him the
fighting,
breakdown. Yep, give him the breakdown.
that is the first fight you should watch to get into the sport because
Mm,
that's what could happen. And the fact that it's a 5 round fight, Mr.
mhm.
Holloway was winning, 4-1 unofficially. So he's winning 4 rounds to 1. So he's already got the fight
Agreed.
won. 10 seconds left in the fight. Mr. Holloway steps to the center of the ring, right on the monster logo,
Hmm.
points to the ground, signifying to the other fighter, all right, we're going to stand here and we're just going to swing at each other, fist to fist, no defense. I mean, they got a little
Correct.
head movement here, but I mean, we're not shielding up. We're just
No, as hard as you can.
hammering away, haymakers. And, it's kind of a live by the sword, die by the sword situation for both parties. And man, did
Correct.
Justin Gaethje die by the sword. I mean,
Oh,
he really did just, and credit to him, he could have said, I'm losing, I'm good.
do I really want to get knocked out?
Yeah.
Do I want
Is
this
this
to happen?
necessary? I've been getting pieced up for the past 25 minutes. I will say credit to him. He stepped in there and was throwing some haymakers, but
Oh, if one, oh, it's the same principle.
mhm,
Everyone's like, oh, backs all the way, da da da. It was probably calculated a couple inches from
mhm,
going the other way.
mhm.
That's when something like that happens. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's nothing big.
no, yeah, you're right there. I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, it's one in the chin, one in the temple. I mean, the brain can be tricky sometimes. Sometimes it just says, "Hey, that's going to be it for me. We're going to bed," and you're gone. And that's what
That's
happened.
correct.
And Mr. Gaethje has come out and said, 6 months. I'm not
Yeah,
doing nothing for 6 months, which is
that's a
smart.
good idea.
Brain needs some time to recover from those types of traumatic situations, especially as fighting goes on. So that's I guess something to keep in mind as for all you fight fans out there this next couple of months, and maybe something a sport a little less aggressive. Uh,
Yeah,
Valhalla Golf Club, kind of actually somewhat in your backyard a little bit
very much
with
in my
the
backyard.
state championship.
Louisville,
So
Kentucky.
what's the vibe like out there? I mean, are people humming, a lot of people going out there.
Pure excitement. The place is buzzing. The rumors were that the course is gettable. What I mean by that is the rumors were having that the final score is going to be upwards of -20. This was a
Wow.
course that people are going to be able to go low on.
Mhm.
My intel tells me the first 2 days. So today, obviously, we saw some good rounds. Xander Schauffele, Roy McIlroy, etc., showing some good scoring. My intel tells me tomorrow will be very similar. But as the weekend comes around, the course will dry up, getting faster. The greens will get faster, meaning we will see a tougher course Saturday and Sunday, which is what we anticipate in a major event.
All right. Well, and just speaking on that, at day's end, we got Mr. Schauffele at he's 9 under,
Playing real good golf.
Tagala 6 under, Finau 6 under, Mr. McIlroy 5 under,
What did
and
uh-huh.
what do you got for me?
I was gonna say, what did Scotty end at?
Let's see.
See if we can get Scotty. I mean, he for those who didn't see, I mean, his hole out on one just amplifies what this guy's doing right now.
Let's see. Oh, he's not popping up. So we got. Oh, I see Tiger Woods.
Yep, Tiger
I see
plus
my
one.
my good non-relative Adam Shank at even.
Yes,
I see
the
that.
namesake.
Yep, that's correct. I don't know. He not. My Google search isn't having him shuffler.
Dive into it.
Oh, he's at -4 there. Two F's in
Yeah,
the
so
last name. So he's
yeah,
tied for ninth right there. So he's
yeah,
obviously
right in the mix.
yeah, well within the mix. And
Yeah,
you, what are you gonna count him out at? I would say unless he's legitimately not on a golf course, he's on a plane going back to Dallas. I'm not counting.
well, and that's what I mean. His wife already gave birth, so he's free to golf now.
Yeah.
Now the people are in trouble because everyone was hoping during the Masters and some of his runs, like, okay, he said if she gives birth, he's gone. So everyone
Yep.
was waiting for her to give birth so he could leave the tournament. Yeah, just so happened he was able to win upwards of plus 5 million plus over the past couple of weeks in those golf tournaments.
Mhm.
Take a week or two off and get right back to it.
Yeah. And well, and I feel like it was a few times ago we were talking about the comparison between Tiger Woods, Mr. Scheffler, Tom Brady, and Patrick
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes. So for the listener viewers, I've since switched. I'm going back to Mr. Caprita's side. think we need a little bit more proof in the pudding for Scheffler to be calling him the Tiger. Because based on my research, Tiger Woods was ranked #1 in the world from
Give
1997
it to me.
to
Give it to me.
2014,
Yep. It's
which is
unprecedented.
683 weeks.
That's correct.
So I think we're gonna have to hold out for at least another decade.
And here's the thing about Tiger that people don't get. He was so dominant. He did everything just so young, but everything he did was high level. But he had the break. I mean, there was his off the course issues and all that kind of stuff, and the injuries piled up. I mean, if this guy was able to play his career injury free and continue to play throughout, I mean, the numbers he would have put up would be unbelievable. Because you're talking, he has 15 majors. I mean, I think he had, give or take 13 or 14, like before the age of 30. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's gonna be tough to
unbelievable.
beat. That's gonna be real tough
It's
to beat
unbelievable.
as we go forward in the golf world. Well, and that just reminds me of some of these players that, like I think it was the guy who won in 2014 the PGA Championship. Like they still come back. It's like, hey, maybe I still got it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's always funny to see those guys out there, you know?
Yeah, the old timers.
Yeah.
You know what gave me a good giggle always does? John Daly.
Yep.
I don't know how he got approved, but he can ride in the cart. The clubs cannot. So he's whipping around a cart and his caddy's walking.
Yep.
This is the guy that does 8+ cigarettes, drinks Diet Coke, and just eats
Well,
a diet
his
unkind to
son
humans.
plays at Arkansas or something like
That's
that. I think
correct.
his son's pretty good at golf too, which would make sense, I guess.
It would make sense.
So that's yeah, I think he actually, I saw him do an NIL deal with the fine establishment over there at Hooters,
That's correct.
which I don't know how many NIL deals they've done, but speaking about brand marketing, finding the right fit, the Daily family and that establishment seems like a real good fit for both parties there.
Right.
So that's I will say I saw that a little while ago and kind of the marketing space, but
That is
I
a
don't
good
know
one.
if there's anything let's see. Oh, here we go. We got Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner says he plans to engage Scott Boras this season. So kind of what we talked about. There we go. So we're
for
already
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto.
Correct.
Looks like we're getting the ball
Yeah,
rolling here.
we'll be able to get that done. Shooting back to Tiger real quick, just for the audience, I want to correct myself on a statistic I just threw out there. It was 10 majors before the age of 30. So just want to make sure we're correct on everything that's coming out of this podcast. I was wrong. It's 10 majors before the age of 30.
Still a good amount.
That would do.
Still a good amount. So we'll keep an eye on that, as obviously it's just getting started out there in Valhalla. But as we wrap up here, did we miss anything, Sal? You want to touch on anything as we close?
No, I think we're kind of in the series, or I guess the one thing I would like to just shout out while we've got the platform, because it is basketball season. We're in the thick of the playoffs.
Okay.
For those that don't know, Denver Nuggets fan, precisely a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, the Nuggets were down 0-2. Everyone within the sports media world wrote them off, including some of my closest allies and friends even wrote them off. I stuck to my guns, saying we got them right where we want them, and it's working out really well. I believe we look to finish that series off, going 4 straight games, putting the Timber puppies into their place, and continuing our run to repeat as champions.
Okay. No, yep, I do. I wasn't the text thread. I do have that was one of your direct quotes. We got them right where we want them. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit flustered by that. Coming off the heels of an 0-2 home, these are home losses.
Oh, these are home losses.
I mean, it looked like the Timberwolves and 96 Bulls. I mean, they were not missing. But I did hear one commentator say, if the Timberwolves get cold, they're not going to stand. And they have not shot the ball well at all. And their defense, I mean, your defense can only hold up for so long. These are professional athletes. They're bucket getters. You're gonna have to score on the other side, and they haven't been. And obviously we've seen three wins rattled off for the Nuggets there. I think too. I mean, three in a row. They got all the momentum. I think the Timberwolves are going to come out hot, so the Nuggets are going to have to, withstand that initial phase. But I think they should take them. So
Yep.
that's I think that's a good number to wrap up on as this concludes another episode of the Constant Sports Podcast. And I guess Sal and I, we've talked a lot about kind of the sports space, and we're thankful for Sal jumping on and sharing his insights and experiences with us. So you can check out this episode on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast. Check out our newsletter for more updates and everything. And thanks again for joining us, Sal, and we'll be in touch.
Yep. You too.
All right, see you guys. Bye.